There's a tackle by Dutton coming up, but Harris got hurt on this play.
Yeah, that's, he got... But I can assure you that next...
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this special session of the about how much was in his head. When I looked for representatives from Demopolis, Representative Rick Sandler. To the best of my ability, so help me God. So help me God. Yes. Sadness at parting with so many dear friends, particularly here in this building. The one thing, first, the governor of the state of Alabama, Chief Justice Livingston's third goal of brick and mortar is left to the future. But more than bricks is a human mortar to hold the new system together and to make the administration of justice in Alabama fair and efficient and to the benefit of all of its citizens. The challenge and the task of this new judicial day is to execute that system, to make it work. And we will need the cooperation of the executive, the support of the legislature, the coordinate efforts of the brethren on this court and these court, and the understandings and patience of the public. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after a period of some 100 years, this nation now accepts the South in its mainstream of government. And Alabama citizens and citizens of this nation are now watching Alabama's courts. With your support and with divine guidance, the challenge of this day will be met. Thank you very much.
That I will support the Constitution
of
the United States of America
and
the state, discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
Your presence and all of your presence here today and being here tells us judges that you're interested in your courts. And these courts up here are your courts. They're not just for court officials or for judges, they're yours. And we ask you to come and see your courts in operation and let us know if there's anything that you feel like that your courts can do to operate more efficiently and effectively in the administration of justice.
And I phrase it that way. It's been my occasion to speak to many civic clubs, and Rotary, of course, is a club. We spend $7.30 a day for each public offender in the state prison system. The next state in the United States in funds spent on a per-day basis, the state of Georgia, they spend $10.95 a day. The national average is slightly over $19 a day for the money spent per prisoner by, the State Department of Corrections, whatever name it might be called by. Counting the District of Columbia, out of 51 entities, the 50 states plus the District of Columbia, we're number 51 in the amount of money spent per prisoner per day in the state of Alabama and in the United States. Now, the people, up on Capitol Hill, they talk about neglect and mismanagement, and I submit that the neglect comes from years of neglect. It's not something that has happened, last year or the year before.
Let's go, Phil. Y'all roll, man. Where are you from? From here.
From here.
Some people up north would find it hard to believe that an inch and a half of snow would paralyze a town, but it's just about gotten that way in Montgomery. Most of the streets in the capital city are hazardous, but they're drivable. Officials are urging people to drive slowly and drive carefully inside of town. Outside of town, unless you really have to go somewhere, it's a good idea to stay within the city limits. Most of the highways are getting treacherous. Highway 80 is the highway that's behind me, Highway 80 West going into Selma. And things aren't too good on Highway 80. I have with me State Trooper E.S. Maggard. And what's the conditions like here at Highway 80 and around the rest of the state right now?
It's very hazardous here and all over the state. We've closed off US 80 as of 8:40 this morning. Solid ice between Danley Field and Selma. And we have several vehicles off the shoulder of the road between here and Selma.
Do you have similar conditions in other highways?
Yes, sir, we do. We're closing more highways as snow progresses.
How about interstates?
Yes, sir, we're checking on I-65 now to close I-65.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you can take some advice of the state troopers, and unless you really have anywhere to go today, just stay around home. And if you have to drive, drive very wisely. More highways are being closed by the minute, and WSFA will keep you informed as they do. Bill Weaver, WSFA TV News from Highway 80 West, outside Montgomery. Group here, how many of you played in snow before?
All of us.
I'm from Detroit.
I'm from Florida.
Detroit.
I'm from Detroit.
I'm from Mobile, Alabama.
It even snowed in Opelika.
They have snow every year in Connecticut.
Anybody here who hadn't played in the snow?
Me? I'm from Florida, Pensacola.
Well, how you like it?
Hey, I like it. Okay, y'all. Right on, man. Hey, right on, man. Yeah. Right on.
We love the snow. We love the snow.
Hey, hey. Hey, anybody want any?
It's square for real. For all those who haven't played in the snow, here's a bucket.
Yeah. For all who ain't played in the snow, let's go, Phil.
Y'all roll, man. Where are you from?
From here.
From here.
Where are you from? Enjoy it.
Come on, don't get around.
Okay.
Well, actually, this morning about 6:15, this Delta flight was coming in, and landed all right on the runway. But we'd had quite a bit of sleet and ice before the snow started, and everything was pretty slippery, so he got to the end of his landing roll, and when he turned off on the taxi strip, as he started down the taxiway, he had to make another 90-degree turn to get on the taxiway that goes back to the terminal. And if you were driving to work this morning, you put your brakes on, you know how slippery things were. Well, he tried to stop. The airplane just kept sliding sideways, and he slid off to where his left main gear and his nose wheel was off in the mud. Delta has sent a crew over from Atlanta who are experts in this kind of thing. This happens every now and then in the aviation business. And they are working now to free the airplane from the mud.
Today's snow and its accompanying ice problems have made getting from one place to another a difficult task, particularly on rural highways. This has made today a busy one for Alabama State Troopers, with the outlook perhaps grimmer for tomorrow.
The hazardous conditions that we have experienced over this part of the state, and of course to the north and to the west of us, we've been very busy closing roads and of course working accidents. We've had a number of accidents. Of course, most of them, thankfully, because of the bad conditions, people were driving slow, and for the most part it has been fender benders.
What's going to be the outlook when things start freezing over?
Okay, of course it's really going to be worse than it was today, especially on the rural roads and of course out in the rural areas. This slush that's on the highways, with it freezing tonight and possibly in the morning as predicted, it's going to be worse because the snow, you could see it and you knew it was there, but the slush, not being able to see it, it's just going to be a solid sheet of ice, and of course we are expecting very, very hazardous driving conditions. And of course, again, we'll probably be closing some highways as we have done during the day today.
Because of the imminent hard freeze, state troopers are urging motorists to stay off the highways tonight except for dire emergencies. As for the morning outlook, officials are predicting road conditions tomorrow may be even worse than today. From the Montgomery District headquarters of the Alabama State Troopers, Bill Weaver, WSFA TV News.
Well, the interstate exchange is in pretty bad shape right now, and the city crews and the state are working together and are now barricading all of the interstate system within the city of Montgomery.
What about other roads in Montgomery?
Well, the general thoroughfares in Montgomery are passable at this time, but we expect that as night approaches and the temperatures start to fall again, that they'll be icing over, especially the bridges and the overpasses throughout the city.
What advice do you have for motorists in Montgomery?
Well, first of all, if you don't have to travel, don't. Stay at home and stay warm, watch television.
Yeah, we've got a gentleman right here who wishes to address the council, so I would ask that he would come forward at this time and state his name, sir. We move that a commendation for WHHY's efforts in behalf of the Montgomery Zoo be included and enrolled in the minutes of this meeting.
Right.
Is that what your motion is, sir?
Yes, sir. I didn't know that was the motion.
Job well done. I think we had approximately 500 people. And my report up to date, I believe, is that...
Not here, so I suggest that we just have a fellow on his right take care of that responsibility.
Ready?
There you go. Freeze your fingers, Emmett, before you put them on.
I'll tell you what.
I hate for it to get cold. I don't know what in the world it is. Fair.
Yes, Mr. Wiley, under your proposal, how much the residential rate increase will be placed into effect on March 1st, and how much this figure, get that down to exactly, it would solve any problems that you would have concerning.
No, I don't think any of the parties, the power company or the consumers or the industrial interveners or the commission are happy. There's no neat solution to this problem, and anything we do is going to leave somebody unhappy. But I think that I've come up with a plan that everybody can live with, and that nobody is going to be suffering under.
Could you put the proposal in a nutshell, this compromise proposal?
What it does not allow any increase on residential customers at this time. It does allow the industrial and business customers to receive 95% of the rate increase which they were supposed to receive at this time.
Well, of course, the temperature is going back down pretty low, and all the water that you see around will freeze again tonight and will be glazed over. And we'll just have sort of a repeat of the same situation we had last night. How severe that will be will depend on how much snow we get tonight.
I would say the worst is yet to come, because most of my calls this morning have been, well, I don't have any hot water, or I don't have this or don't have that about the water system. And of course that means that their water lines in their house is frozen. It's usually in the attic or under the floor. And of course when it warms up, those lines going to thaw out, and when they do, then the water's going to run every place. So I expect when it gets warm, that's when we'll have a big problem.
1, 2, 3, go!
How about that?
This bed operation is, the building is equipped with bathroom, heater, and a shed to work under. The old building had no bath facilities and they had no heat. You store their material and work in the same room. You got your working assignments out the old building. This building here is built for a bath, shower, either anything you want is designed to do, and it's really equipped for a working man. It's uplift to him.
We'll have 5 trucks loaded with sand with 5 truck drivers. We'll have 2 equipment operators, a supervisor, and a foreman. The sand will be stored inside the garage so it won't freeze. This morning we had some sand that was froze its entire depth and we had to dump it out. Last night we had 25 men on and 5 trucks and 2 foremen and 2 equipment operators. And we worked a full crew until midnight, cut it down to 1 crew from midnight till daylight. We put out approximately 300 yards of sand yesterday. We put out 150 yards last night, and it looks like today from the ice, no snow, but we will be put out as much sand today as we did yesterday.